With why does Yoichi Nagumo always smile, even when someone is about to die? Sakamoto Days is filled with assassins who possess overwhelming power. Yet Nagumo stands out because he does not simply overpower people. He confuses them, lowers their guard, and leaves them wondering whether they ever understood him at all. Behind his jokes and disguises is one of the story's most dangerous and emotionally guarded characters. Before we continue, this analysis contains manga spoilers. Nagumo is introduced as an old friend of Taro Sakamoto and a member of the Order, the elite group serving the Japanese Association of Assassins. From his first appearance, he feels strangely out of place. Other assassins carry themselves like professionals, monsters, or disciplined soldiers. Nagumo acts like he has wandered into the wrong room and decided to stay because it looks entertaining. He teases people, tells obvious lies, and treats deadly situations like casual games. But this behavior is not carelessness, it is control. Nagumo understands that information is power. If an enemy knows what you want, what you fear, and how you plan to attack, they can prepare for you. So he gives people nothing reliable. His words may be jokes, his face may be a disguise, his weapon may contain another weapon. Even his apparently random actions can become distractions. Fighting Nagumo means fighting without certainty, and uncertainty is where he is strongest. This connects directly to his background. And Nagumo comes from a family with a long history in espionage, and he originally studied in the spy department at the JCC. Spies survive by observing others while preventing others from observing them. They collect secrets and protect their own identities. Although Nagumo later moved into the assassin program, he never abandoned that way of thinking. He fights like a spy who happens to possess the physical ability of an elite assassin. His talent for disguise is the clearest expression of this. Nagumo can copy another person's appearance so perfectly that even people familiar with the original can be fooled. On the surface, it is a useful technique for infiltration. On a deeper level, it represents the central contradiction of his personality. Nagumo can become almost anyone, but the audience rarely gets to see who he is when no performance is required. The man with 1,000 faces is also the man most determined to hide his own. That is why his constant smile matters. For some characters, a smile reveals happiness. For Nagumo, it usually conceals intention. He smiles while joking with friends, threatening enemies, gathering information, and entering brutal fights. Because the expression almost never changes, it stops functioning as an honest emotional signal. It becomes another mask. When everyone around him reacts naturally, Nagumo keeps performing. The rare moments when that performance weakens, therefore, tell us more than any speech could. And to understand those moments, we have to look at his past with Sakamoto and Rian Akao. During their time at the JCC, the three became an infamous group of exceptionally talented troublemakers. Sakamoto was quiet and instinctive. Rian was confident, direct, and gifted with the ability to see the paths that could lead to a kill. Nagumo brought deception, adaptability, and a talent for reading situations. Their personalities clashed, but their differences also completed one another. More importantly, Sakamoto and Rian were among the few people who knew Nagumo before he became a polished member of the Order. They were not targets to manipulate or officials to impress. They were friends who fought beside him, argued with him, and understood the strange world in which he had been raised. Untrained to treat identity as a tool, that kind of connection was probably rare with them. Nagumo came closer to belonging somewhere as himself. Then that group fell apart. Rion disappeared and was believed to have been killed by Kei Uzuki, while Sakamoto eventually left the assassin world, built a family, and found a new purpose. Nagumo remained inside the system. This difference is essential. Sakamoto escaped the life that had shaped them, but Nagumo continued working within it, carrying questions about Rion and Uzuki for years. The cheerful assassin, therefore, becomes a picture of unresolved grief. He keeps moving, keeps smiling, and keeps investigating, but he never truly leaves the past behind. Nagumo rarely explains this pain directly. That silence fits his character. A person who controls information will not easily reveal the information that can hurt him most. Instead, his loyalty appears through action. He protects Sakamoto even when their official positions should place distance between them. He pursues the truth surrounding Rion long after doing so becomes dangerous. And when new revelations challenge the simple story of victim and killer, he does not stop caring. His feelings are complicated, but they are not shallow. This is what makes Nagumo more than the familiar anime character who jokes because he is overpowered. His humor is entertaining, but it also creates emotional distance. If everything is a game, then nothing has to be confessed. If every serious question receives a playful answer, nobody can reach the wound underneath. Nagumo is socially confident yet emotionally elusive. He can enter any room, imitate any person, and speak to almost anyone, but genuine openness is far more difficult for him than combat. His signature weapon follows the same design philosophy. Instead of relying on one famous sword or gun, Nagumo carries an enormous multifunction blade. It can shift between different tools and forms, allowing him to change his approach without warning. The weapon is almost a physical version of Nagumo himself. It has no single identity that an opponent can safely memorize. Every time someone believes they understand it, another function appears. The battle with Gaku demonstrates this perfectly. Gaku possesses terrifying speed, strength, and endurance. Within a direct contest of raw force, Nagumo has no reason to make the fight easy for him, so Nagumo controls attention. He changes weapons, uses tricks, reads reactions, and hides the attack that matters among attacks designed to be noticed. His nearly invisible ceramic blade is effective not only because it is difficult to see, but because Nagumo gives Gaku too many other things to watch. This victory reveals the difference between power and danger. Gaku may look more destructive, but Nagumo is dangerous because he shapes the opponent's understanding of the battle. He decides what information is visible and what remains hidden. By the time the enemy recognizes the trick, the important move has already happened. Nagumo does not merely fight the body, he fights perception. Nagumo also works as a contrast to Sakamoto. Both men are legendary assassins, but they respond to the past in opposite ways. Sakamoto transforms openly, his body changes, his career ends, and his love for his family becomes the rule guiding his life. He accepts a new identity so completely that the assassin world sees him as someone who betrayed his potential. Nagumo appears not to change at all. Years pass, yet he keeps the same youthful face, relaxed manner, and unreadable smile. But Nagumo's lack of change is partly an illusion. Sakamoto processes his past by building something new. Nagumo preserves himself like a photograph from the old days. Remaining the same can look like freedom, but it can also be a sign that someone is trapped. And his old friends moved away from him, one through death and mystery, the other through love and retirement. Nagumo stayed behind, surrounded by the institution that trained him to hide. Rian is central to that humanity, whether viewers interpret their bond as friendship, love, guilt, or a mixture of all three. The story makes one point clear: her loss reached a part of Nagumo that he normally keeps protected. She represents a time when his life was not divided completely into missions, secrets, and institutional politics. Searching for the truth about her is also a search for the part of himself connected to that time. Uzuki complicates this search because he cannot be reduced to the simple role Nagumo wants him to occupy. The deeper the mystery becomes, the harder it is to separate Rian's fate, Uzuki's fractured identity, and the corruption surrounding the assassin world. Nagumo is most comfortable when he possesses more information than everyone else. Here, the truth refuses to remain clean. His greatest strength is controlling the story in front of him, but his greatest emotional challenge is accepting a story he cannot fully control. Nagumo is fascinating because every part of him supports the same theme. His disguises hide his face, his smile hides his feelings, his jokes hide his intentions, his weapon hides its next function, his intelligence hides his true plan. Yet beneath all of those layers is a man whose actions reveal a surprisingly stable heart. He cares about Sakamoto, he cannot forget Rian, and despite years spent mastering false identities, he is still shaped by the few people who recognized him. In the end, Yoichi Nagumo is not memorable only because he is cool, funny, or powerful. He represents the cost of turning yourself into an unreadable person. His masks protect him, make him effective, and allow him to survive. They also isolate him. The same talent that lets him become anyone prevents others from knowing who he really is. That is the hidden tragedy behind Nagumo's smile. He can fool enemies, allies, and sometimes even the audience. But the longer he performs, the more we wonder whether the performance is protecting his true self or slowly replacing it. And that mystery is exactly why, whenever Nagumo enters a scene, it becomes impossible to look away. This is the Insight Station, where we look beyond the action and discover the meaning hidden inside the characters we love.